different physical forms may have the same type of senses, but they have a little bit more of some or degree, compared to others. For example, a vulture. Sri Prabhupada describes miles away, they can sense a dead body and they can fly from that to that point and actually get that dead body. A dog can hear very high notes that humans cannot hear. Okay? So different senses are prominent in terms of their activity or their effect from one to another. The Sri Prabhupada is describing here that is all based on what we want or what we desire. So from one lifetime to another, we put the soul, when we say we, the soul is put in different types of bodies. In text 3 and 4 together, I'll read the translation. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead from whom everything began and whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So Krishna is telling us that the real tree we can't perceive here. We only have the upside down and messed up in terms of his image. Perversion. That's what we have here. And so we have to be detached from it. We may be in this material world, but as is said in different religions, well, this world is not our home. Don't get attached to this place. Do what you can in terms of material things. So material things, you do what's necessary to maintain the body. But your aim should be involving ourselves in spirituality and being around those who are doing the same thing, which means association of devotees. Very, 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 very important. You can't do spirituality by yourself because Maya will in fact attack you. If I'm by myself, I can't do it because Maya will actually seek a place to get in, to change my mind. It even happened to very, very advanced souls like Bhard Maharaj. And Bhard Maharaj is the son of Maharaj Rishabhadev, who himself is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a high birth. Maharaj Rishabhadev was a king. And still, when Maharaj Rishabhadev left the kingdom, Bhard Maharaj was the one that actually was the next king. And he left when he was older, up there in age, in order to devote full time and leave administration, Kshatriya work behind, and concentrate on bhakti. Still, when he went to the forest, a situation happened where a young deer was almost drowned. He saw what was happening. He went in the water, got the deer, and the mother had died, and therefore there was no one to care for the deer. So he cared for the deer, but he grew fond of the deer and stopped doing his devotion service. Bhard Maharaj, the son of Maharaj Rishabhadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's incarnation. Why? Well, Sri Radha Maharaj just kind of lectured it. He said, if only someone else was with him in the forest, if only someone else was with him, could have reminded him, Maharaj, you left the administration to come here to involve yourself full time in bhakti. And now you're caring for a deer full time. Not that caring for the deer was bad, but caring for the deer and stopping your devotion service. So he went from spiritual consciousness to full material consciousness and attachment to a deer. And so when he died, he was thinking about the deer, and he took a body of a deer. That's what happens. So we need association very much. Never take the association we have here lightly. It is actually our security in Krishna consciousness, being around other devotees. Non-devotees will never remind us of Krishna. They won't. It's not their thing. It's just, they are eating meat and so on, things that we stay away from. They do. And so being around each other and encouraging each other is very, very, very important. So, Srila Prabhupada says, when entangled with the material expansions of this tree, then one cannot see how far the tree extends. But one has to find out the cause by extrapolation. And this is a mathematical term, but it's defined nicely here. For example, everybody knows that they have a father, and their father also has a father, the grandfather, and so on. So we can search that way. One father has a son has a father, or a daughter has a father, and he has a father, and he or she, so on, until we get to the one main father for this material world, and that is Lord Brahma, whom all came. And who is Lord Brahma's father? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. In that way, when you search like that, then we get to the Supreme Personality of God, Godhead. So this how Srila Prabhupada says that we can trace our steps back to the spiritual world. Aham savasya prabhava mata savam prabhasate iti matva vajantimam buddha bhava samandita. Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, text 8. Krishna says, I'm the origin of everything. Everything emanates from me. So the wise who are aware of that, they give their hearts and do all the activities in devotion service to me. Just paraphrasing what basically this means. So, Srila Prabhupada said, therefore, to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. And as soon as one surrenders to Krishna, then one becomes automatically detached from this material extension. Now, Krishna is the source of everything, material and spiritual. As we said here, I'm the origin of everything. That means material and spiritual. In one more text, he says, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal and who are done with material lusts and freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender to the Supreme Person, they go to that eternal kingdom. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association. False prestige, false ego. False ego identifying the body with the self. And we know we're not these bodies. But when we do things based on identifying the body as the self, and so many times we do it, sometimes not even realizing that we're doing that. Yes, I'm a devotee. I like coming to the temple, but this particular race people, I'm not so comfortable with them. As soon as you think that way, you're at the body level. Immediately you're at the body level. And there are problems around this international society. So people say, oh, but why? Yeah, well, these people are more hygienic than others. Material reason, right? These people are this way, those people are that way. Therefore, I don't like to be around them. In Maya, immediately. We are all devotees. We are all at the gate. We are all chanting the same Hare Krishna mantra. That is the most important thing. If you look at any other thing apart from that and you come up with a reason why you don't like, that reason is going to be material, 100%. Material reason. And then you just attach to that, and my mind says, yes, you're right. These people are that way, those people are that way, on and on and on and on. That's why we're told we should look for the good qualities of a person and literally overlook the qualities that are of lower nature. Why? It looks like, oh, but it's like saying, all right, I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself. But the person has bad qualities, it's obvious, and it disturbs us. All right, what about us? Do we have bad qualities? Be honest with ourselves, do we? The answer is, unless you're a pure devotee, the answer is yes. So actually, one way of looking at qualities that are not so great, that disturbs us, is the person, we're talking about devotees now, the person has some sickness. So if you change the mentality to the person is, from the person is a bad person or does some things about them I don't like, to a person who wants to go home, is chanting Hare Krishna, he comes to temple, but he has some disease. My Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj, one time made comment of the different dhams, centers, like they are spiritual hospitals. Well, now what happens in hospitals? Diseases are treated. Now, if you go to any hospital and the patients are there and they are sick, are you going to get mad at them because they're sick? No, you're going to feel sorry for them. It's the opposite. You're going to feel sorry for them. So when anyone realizes there are low qualities of someone, it's not a question of making a big show of it or making a big mantra about it. It's a question of helping to elevate that person. If you think that your certain qualities are better, then you show that by example. By example. And people do notice. Sometimes actions speak louder than words, as you well know. So then if we approach it that way, then we can help others slowly to also come to the level of more goodness. Because from there, the one becomes, goes to more transcendence. That's by instruction. We've been told what to do, how to serve, how to chant. Those are there. Those are all spiritual. And even if we don't have, we're not at the point where our hearts are really, really into it, but we're doing it because we are obeying the spiritual master's instruction to do it, slowly we'll get up to that point. But it's a question of not playing too much into negativity. Talk to the mind. I have as many faults as this person. Even maybe have more faults than this person I'm seeing something about. And so, literally, pulling away and only talking about the positive things will in fact cleanse our mind, cleanse our hearts, and then we will in fact be slowly getting out. This is also part of getting out, detangling ourselves or removing ourselves from the material world. It's also very much part of it. Not thinking too badly about other people or thinking that this is a sickness, therefore I have to help this person heal or direct this person, or if I don't have that sickness, then I should actually be around and show that by example so that they also can pick up. Now, in the middle part of chapter 15, Krishna establishes what exactly this title is, Yoga of the Supreme Person. Mamaivamsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manasistani Indriyani Prakritistani Kashati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. We are all part and parcel of Krishna, but because we have chosen the conditioned life, we are struggling very hard with the senses and the mind. So, The living entity is in a situation where they could get out, but they choose to struggle in the material world. Krishna says, I am the topmost of everything. Hmm? So, the foolish people, which is text 10, cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all of this. In other words, non-devotees are put in a situation where they think the solutions will come from this material world. And they're so deceived, because now, especially in the advanced countries, one electronic gadget after another comes out, and everything is more convenient. They play up all those things, but does it improve our lives? Does it make us happy? No. If you think you'll be happy with another one that is better than the one before, that happiness won't last long. You'll realize that you're back in the same situation, that your solution, your problems really have not been taken away, and maybe the gadget is giving you another way to forget about the struggles of life a little bit by some more programs that are in there. But after a while, you see, you're just back in the same situation, and your life really has not improved. Krishna is the supreme controller and the source of everything. Krishna says, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, the sun's splendor comes from me, the splendor of the moon comes from me, the splendor of fire comes from me. Krishna, even now he puts himself in the material world, even the things in the material world are all from him. So, in text 13, he says, I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. People cannot find out how the planets are orbiting in such a wonderfully arranged way in the universe. But he says, by my energy, they stay in orbit. So, Krishna supplies everything materially for us. In 14, text 14, he says, I'm the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities. And I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming to digest to 4 kinds of foodstuffs. So he's talking now in detail that the planetary situations, they are from him, he keeps them in orbit, and even every individual that eats. The fire of digestion in the bodies are also Krishna. He's the cause of everything. And then in 15 he says, I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. I'm seated in everyone's heart as a super soul, of course. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So it becomes very interesting. Krishna says, from him come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Now think about that. Knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So there is something in this world we call IQ, right? Intelligence quotient. Krishna says, from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if you are a student, you're studying in school, you'll have exams. And some people say, well, this person is quite smart. They get these good grades, and the transcript shows that they are doing quite well. Krishna says, from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So that person has a high IQ? No. You may think they do, but Krishna's argument is remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness come from me. Therefore, in a typical test that a person is taking, if Krishna does not help that person to remember what they've studied, would they be able to answer questions well? No. Remembrance and forgetfulness are controlled. They come from Krishna. Therefore, it is better that a devotee, knowing that, no matter what they study, they should also appeal to the Lord to help them. That's what it boils down to. Let me tell you a story. This happened in India. And Radha Maharaj told this story. He said, in IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, very, very, very highly competitive, and people who go to students really, 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 and even parents help them do their best to study like anything to try to pass the exams. So, final exams were coming. Some of the students in IIT were also devotees. And there's a question of, well, I chant my 16 rounds, but boy, I need all the time that I need, though, in order to study for my exams, so maybe some things will have to be cut off just for that period that I'm preparing for the test. That's Maya. I can tell you that, because it's always important to put Krishna first. But anyway, here's Radha Maharaj's way he told the story. There were a couple of devotees who, no matter how hard they studied for the finals, they kept their sadhana. They chanted, they made sure that was priority. The tests it took, and then in the end, when the results came, some of their friends found out that those devotees had done very well in the test. And so they were quite surprised. So they asked, how come you guys, what is it that you did so well? Well, you know what the devotees would answer, right? Krishna's mercy. And so the next time that there was a program at the temple, guess what happened? The devotees came with their friends that are non-devotees, followed them to the temple. So if Krishna has helped you, then Krishna is the solution. I want to come find a solution to my exams to do well, so I'm going to come to the temple. So they made a few more devotees that way. So Krishna is actually the source of this. So everybody that's in school, you definitely have to keep chanting your rounds. You definitely have to keep doing as much bhakti activity as possible. Don't let the mind tell you, oh, because this exam is coming up, that exam is coming up. If you put Krishna first, Krishna says, Ye yatamapapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. The extent to which you surrender, I reward accordingly. Krishna knows that if you're a student, the exam's coming. But if you put bhakti as priority, sometimes the mind is going to tell you, but this, put bhakti as priority anyway, and see what Krishna will do for you materially. Krishna talks about two classes in 16. So we're not too far from the end. It ends in chapter 20, so this is chapter 16. There are two classes of beings, fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Now, the fallible and infallible means those in the spiritual world are infallible in that they don't want to come to the material world. They serve Krishna to satisfy Krishna's senses. And those in the material world are fallible because we try to serve our senses and we wound up here. That's the explanation, simple explanation for that. Then besides these two, fallible and infallible, there's the greatest living personality, text 17, the supreme soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them, as he described earlier. Because I'm transcendental, Krishna says, beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. So then he tells Arjuna, whoever knows me as a supreme personality of Godhead without doubting is a knower of everything. And that person will engage himself in full devotional service to me. So, chapter 15 talks about getting away from this upside down banyan tree, detaching oneself from material activities, doing only what's necessary, but spending more time associating with devotees and doing bhakti, doing devotional service. When you understand Krishna that way, that you have to serve his senses, then you completely surrender to him. So the last thing we're going to talk about before opening up for questions, there are 6 ways of surrender, 6 symptoms of surrender. We hear the word surrender to me, Krishna, and we see Prabhupada says so many lectures. The problem is we don't surrender to Krishna. What is the consciousness of a person who is fully surrendered to Krishna? It's been put in 6 ways. 1, that person performs those actions favorable to devotional service. And 2, once you give up everything unfavorable for discharging devotional service. So we have to use our intelligence to say, will this help me in serving Krishna? Yes, then do it. Will this help me? No, then don't do it. Number 3, one should firmly believe that Krishna will protect one in all circumstances, and that no one is a better protector than Krishna himself. Nobody can protect as well as Krishna himself. Therefore, you don't need other lower gods to try to get protection from. Protection comes from Krishna. So, number 4, one should have a conviction that Krishna is one's maintainer. One's maintainer. And one should not take shelter of any demigod for maintenance. But when you think about it, where do demigods get what they have anyway? They come from Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. Aham Sarvasya Bhavava. Everything comes from Krishna. So 1, perform activities favorable for devotional service. 2, give up everything unfavorable for devotional service. Then you should have the mentality, 3, that Krishna will protect us in all circumstances. And 4, that Krishna will maintain us. And so we don't need to go somewhere else for maintenance. Number 5, one should always remember that one's activities and desires are not independent. If we say our activities and desires are dependent, are independent, our own, then it means we're saying we don't want to do what Krishna has set us up to do. And that's the way we mentally disconnect from Krishna, and then there are issues. We stay in the material world. We're stuck here. So one should always, this is number 5, one should always remember that one's activities and desires are not independent. In other words, the devotee should feel completely dependent on Krishna. And so he should act and think according to what Krishna has said to do, Krishna's desires. And finally, last symptom of surrender, one should always think himself the poorest of the poor and feel totally dependent on the mercy of Krishna. So, in summary, this tree that is an upside down banyan tree, reflection of the real tree, is a complicated situation to try to live on. We should detach ourselves. Weapon of detachment is devotional service. And understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the greatest. And once a person understands that, you surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is how you get back to the spiritual world. And the symptoms are: perform actions devotionally, favorable, Krishna; give up those that are unfavorable; firmly believe that in all circumstances Krishna will be our protector; firmly believe that in all circumstances Krishna will be our maintainer. One should also remember that one's activities and desires are not independent, and they should feel completely dependent on Krishna. And that we also should be dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any questions or comments? Yes. You can ask. Is the microphone? Okay.
What should be our understanding about more serious we should get, and how?
The question is about how serious we should get, or how
Understanding of what does it mean to be more serious? What's the understanding?
all right?
Yes, definition of seriousness. Yes.
Seriousness comes from the quality that we put into the devotional service that we perform. The quality. Krishna knows that we have imperfect senses. And if we have imperfect senses, we cannot do everything perfectly. But our mentality is what he looks at. Your mentality is extremely, extremely important. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to satisfy Krishna's senses. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you're going to serve the most supreme. Shouldn't you put your best foot forward? That is seriousness. Putting your best foot forward. Doing everything with the best quality. So Srila Prabhupada says, every service that we do should be first class. First class means you're serious about serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By the way, to develop Krishna Prema, which ties into this, love of Godhead, we have to love and respect devotees first. That's where it starts. From that, then we will develop love for Guru, spiritual master, and the spiritual master is a representative of Krishna. Therefore, the spiritual master is satisfied with how we're serving devotees and serving him, then Krishna is automatically satisfied. And when Krishna is satisfied, he will in fact crank up our devotion and love for him. So it starts off like that. So take everything that you do for devotees very seriously. And everything that's in the Shastra, the love, 6 ways. You give prasadam. You can also receive prasadam, but focus more on giving prasadam, because that's what you do. Receiving is someone else giving to you. Give gifts. You can receive gifts. And then, if something is bothering you, especially interfering with your ability to serve, then you should find someone that you can trust and open your mind up to that person. In other words, don't sit and be the judge, jury, and everything, prosecution, defense for all the situation, because you cannot beat Maya. that there should be someone that you can trust that you have to go to. And hopefully that person is someone that is going to answer you from a spiritual standpoint. So that whatever, even if it's a material thing that bothers you, but the Sanatana Goswami was an expert at that when he went to Vrindavan. Many people knew that he was from the government. When he retired from the government, they came to Vrindavan. So they asked him all kinds of questions, and a good many of them were material when he was in Vrindavan. He would answer the material, but he would also put a Krishna angle to it, so that the person benefited from good wisdom, material wisdom, but then they also got Krishna consciousness added to it. So yes, our mentality should always be, we're doing this because we're learning to love devotees, we're learning to love people in general, and therefore, since Krishna will be pleased and Guru will be pleased, let me take my service very seriously. Do it with good quality. When the quality is good, it is a representation or it's an indication of seriousness. Very good question. Hare Krishna. Any other?
I have one more question. And you were talking earlier about Radhanath Swami's example of that famous university in India, ITT. How this devotee was scoring so well, I believe, because he was so engaged in bhakti. Did I get it right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
IIT.
I'm sorry. IIT.
That's okay.
I apologize. What came to my mind is when you were sharing the story about this devotee, because he was engaged in bhakti, coming to the temple, he was doing so well in school. And I think I speak for some parents. Jagannath Bali Subhadra ki jai, Gaunitai ki jai. Nowadays we have children, devotee kids in our community who are at the stage of wanting to go away to school. And their reason of going to school is, but I want to experience university life. But there isn't an opportunity for them for devotee association, devotional service, completely away from temple. But the argument is, but I want to experience life, university life. And now using this current, status of devotee turn, wanting to go away, when parents are concerned that, hey, but there's no temple, there's no devotees, there's no association, there's no service, there's no prasada, unless you're going to cook in the dormitory. And then you have the story of this devotee that was scoring so well going to the temple. What is your advice? Haribol.
Advice for?
Devotee children who wants to go to school because they want to experience university life, and the parents are concerned because there's no devotee association, no devotional life. And I want to add, because, and sorry to pick on Shorab, but he was sharing with me when he was in Voice Pune, he was so blessed that he had to go to school, but still he had devotee Mangalarti and devotee association, Prasada. So, but he was fortunate that he had a school and temple, and he scored well, I'm sure. So, with our devotee children, what's your advice? I know I'm stepping toes on some kids, and some parents might be saying, thank you for answering the question, but it's a valid question, I think.
Some of the points that you made were actually part of the answer to the question. Some of the points you made yourself part of the answer to the question. How serious, is, to a typical student, ask yourself, how serious am I with devotion service? How serious am I about getting through the gate to leave the material world? There's more than one situation for studying. There's more than one university. There's more than one situation. There's more than one type of major. So all of those are there. All of those are there. So basically what I'm saying, we have a lot of choices. And so when one person says, all right, so I need to have the education, it's important. But let me, even if I have to go away from home, get to a situation where I will be able to associate with devotees. There's a devotee now here that was in Canada to come to the United States to go to university, but the parents made sure that he set up in a place where he would still have devotee association. devotee association is quite important. It's not the easiest thing to be away from devotees for long periods of time and hope that you're going to maintain your bhakti. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And so my advice is, if you're a student, you got to go to a university, put the decisions about going in terms of where and what you're going to do in such a way, put it in such a way, or come up with a way in which you will still be able to keep your association. I know you can chant. Chanting can be done everywhere. But when association is absent and you're not strong, it's going to get to a point where Tibetan chanting will be affected. Because Maya does not have you just fall down from, like that, down, straight down. It's always gradual, a little bit taking off, a little bit taking off, and a little bit taking off, and so on. And then you get to a point where you realize there were so many things that you used to do, and you were very excited of devotion service, and now, as a devotee, and now you're not. So, yes, it's delicate, and while we are at the point in ISKCON where we don't have our own varnashram and actual training, post-high school situations, we have to be very careful where we go in order to get protected. The next best thing is to make sure that there's a devotee that you can associate with where you are, if you have to leave home. The association is what keeps us still in Krishna consciousness. If Bharat Maharaj couldn't do it when he was by himself, that's a good lesson for us.
I want to piggyback on that. I'm sorry, 1 minute. And just like you said, because Bharat Maharaj couldn't do it, but then we have kids that say, but I got life figured out, my dad. What do we do? Dear Krishna is smiling at me because he when I had this discussion. I mean, if Bharat Maharaj couldn't do it, but we have students that say, devotee kids saying, but dad, I got life figured out. I got this. What's your advice?
There are young adults that, because the body is fairly young, they can do quite a few things. They tend to think that the answers are all there. I remember there was a program which was in Washington, D.C. Devotees get together, and actually they were single devotees at that time. We're talking about marriage and different things in devotion, sir, in being a Hare Krishna devotee. And one guy who was about almost 40 at the time made a comment that I still remember. He said that when I was in my 20s, I thought that I had it all figured out. People were telling me that no, quite, but I mean, the solutions were there. I could see it. And so I couldn't see how that anybody would think that I don't know how to figure my life out. So until I went, and he's saying, I got past 30, 35, and looked back at my 20s, and I realized I didn't know much. I thought I knew. He was laughing at himself, literally, which is taking it lightly. And so he was just trying to make a point. But the important thing is, maturity comes over time. And believe you me, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. And so in order to come back to the point, in order to protect your devotion, you will really need to have access to devotion in terms of a person or persons in order to protect your devotion. Otherwise, it's quite difficult. I'm saying it's not impossible. I'm not saying that, but Maya can challenge you more when you're by yourself without, help. So figure out, at the very least, electronically, how you're going, if you're going to go away to university without association. You have to figure out a way in which to get association. At the very least, it has to be electronic. At the very least, if you have no choice at all, the profession you want to get into means you go to this particular university and nobody else is there, then you might well use Zoom and all of those to connect with the devotees seriously. But there has to be a connection. Hopefully, fortunately now there's the electronic part of it too, so it can be done. But to cut off and say I'm on my own, after 4 years, I don't know. You may graduate, but I don't know what your devotion is going to be at that point. Because it's quite difficult. I mean, just being frank with you, it's not the easiest thing at all to be by yourself and a devotee around a sea of non-devotees. Very difficult. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? By the guidance of? Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if you can start one where more people are interested in devotion, then you've created a devotee association. So yeah, if you're going to be by yourself and you can start, you're a good self-starter, then sure. Then sure. Yeah. It's not true for everybody though, but that's why we're saying that, yeah. Yeah, it is possible to start one on your own too. And there are people who've done that. In fact, the Prabhupada sent devotees to different countries to go start Krishna Consciousness there. Yeah, so that's also there. I'm glad, yeah, you brought it up. It's a very important connection to this also. So the bottom line is you have to have devotee association or create devotee association. That's what it boils down to. But by yourself, that's going to be difficult without association. Final question? Okay. Contract. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Itai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Go Bhaktavinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Go Bhaktavinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Go Bhaktavinda. Jaya Go Bhaktavinda. Jaya Go Bhaktavinda. Jaya Go Bhaktavinda. Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Gorahari, Nithai Goranga, Gorahari. Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Nithai Goranga, Gorahari, Nithai Goranga, Gorahari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Gorahari, Jaya Sachinandana, Gorahari. Gora, Gora, Gora Hari. Gora, Gora, Gora Hari. Nithai Goranga, Gora Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jagana, Jaya Jagana, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagana, Jaya Jagana, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita. Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita. Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Gora Premanande, Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privatikataja Stotra Satya Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privatikataja Stotra Satya Srimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Guti Vaishnavindi Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shami Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Navadvip Dham Ki. Jagannath Dham Ki. Jagannath Swami Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladayane. Praladayane. Hiranyakashipu Bhaksha. Silatankanakalaye. Ito nesinga paraso nesingo. Yato yato yamitato nesinga. Bahir nesingo hidaye nesingo. Nasingavadim Sharanam Papadye. Tavakala Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Singha Lalita Hiranyakasipo Tanu Bringam Keshavarita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re. Tavakala Kamavare Naka Abhuta Singha Alita Hiranyakasipu Tano Bringa Kesharita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re Jaya Jagadisha Re. Jaya Nasingade, Jaya Nasingade, Nasingade, Jaya Nasingade. Jaya Palamai, 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 Jaya Palamai. Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Shinga Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. It's wonderful to be back after 2-3 weeks from me. It's not unwell. I was sick, so it's always nice to be back in the Devotee Association. Really miss all of you. I hope you all that did, got a good break from me. But I'm back, and I'm happy to be back. It's so nice to see the devotees all over again. It's so nice to be back in the temple. Nice amongst to be with the Devotee Association, as we heard. Kirtan, Arti, and lots of bodies. So wonderful. Haribol. Couple of announcements. One is still a little bit lingering in my throat. Didn't get a chance to thank myself personally to all the devotees who participated in the holiday parade. It was wonderful. I have to say that when I was sitting home sick, I was getting minute-to-minute updates. Minute to minute. My phone is flooded with pictures. I have to go through it. Take a lot of bites, but minute-to-minute updates from the time it started till the time it ended between Vrinda and Varsha Mataji and Diri Krishna Mataji, Prabhu and Nitya Gopal. I was just seeing every moment of it. And beautiful, beautiful. And I got a reply from the state 3 days ago, very positive. She said that our team, our group is the word she used, that we brought cheer and enthusiasm. So you guys rocked it. You guys rocked it. So to hear from the state that we brought cheer and enthusiasm is very positive. Very positive. So we're in next year. It's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So if you have the 2022 calendar, which you'll get next week, mark your calendars. Keep it open. It's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And they gave us another opportunity ahead of time. And we're going to be participating in their March Fire and Ice Festival. So we're getting more. We're going to have a book table. We're going to have to talk to the girls, looking at Janvi, Vrinda, Vishaka, Bhavya, Puru, all these girls. They want a dance performance on stage. And yep, they do. They do. And they want us to sell prasadam. Jit Mitra, help me out, young man. So we got our foot in. So of course it's March, so it's going to be cold. Please wear extra layers of thermals and long johns and shoes. I don't care what we do. We're going to rock it this time again. So, say again? You're ready? Harival. Amazing. Month of March. So we're in for the March Fire and Ice Festival. So please do mark your calendars for that. And I also want to thank the youth. Yeah. They did an excellent service. Again, we were getting, minute-to-minute preps and pictures between Dear Krishna Prabhu and Vrinda. We were getting bombarded on our WhatsApp group, and they cooked an amazing feast. Of course, one of the dish was Subrat's favorite, paneer. I just like picking on you, young man. So they had a wonderful prasadam. They delivered to the homeless shelter. They were very happy because it was a lot. It was so much that they had their evening made. So we did it. We did it. Wonderful. This is what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada said, if we cannot bring them in, then we got to go out and get them. This is what he said. Very simple. And Bhakti Churu Swami says, if we can't do anything, give them prasadam. That's Krishna's weapon. Very simple. It's not rocket science. It's very, very simple. So, Srila Prabhupada says, right, simple for the simple. I can't hear. I have a little hearing problem. Haribol. Simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated. So we are simple. So let's make it simple. Very simple. Just chant, prasadam, be merry and bright, like what we were for Thanksgiving Day, right? Very nice. Thank you so much. You all should give another applaud and pat your backs. It was wonderful. I also want to thank an anonymous devotee family. I don't know if any of you noticed that Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasan has his full name plate. Beautiful. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. And it's so nice that now Srila Prabhupada has a nameplate on his Vyasasan, and we want to thank this anonymous devotee family for sponsoring it and getting it done in time for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. In time, nick of time. There was so much drama with it, we thought he wouldn't make it, but Krishna's arrangement, it came the morning off. It was amazing. That is Prabhupada's mercy. He puts us through all his leelas, and then at the end he goes, fine, let me give them some peace. Okay, fine, we'll just get it done. That's Prabhupada. So let's pray for this wonderful devotee family who did this wonderful service for Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol. So couple of announcements. We are entering into December. And normally I don't suggest or even say this, but how many of us have our cell phones with us right now as we speak? Let's have a raise of hand. Okay, all of us, let's just say it. Don't have to be shy and scared. I'm not going to take a brownie point away, don't worry. I want us to take 2 minutes. This is a spiritual challenge for Prabhupada. It's a very nice spiritual challenge, and I think I would like to challenge you all. December is Prabhupada's month, Prabhupada's marathon. It's the month of giving and sharing. Christmas is all about giving and sharing. Perfect time to give the book that Prabhupada spent, I don't know how many years. In fact, it was his third manuscript. The first two was sold, was stolen, and he never gave up, and he wrote the third copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? I would like us right now, I'm putting all of us on the spot, including myself, pull up your contact list. Pick one friend from your contact list that you can give one Bhagavad Gita. We have copies right here sitting in our storeroom. And I want to challenge each one of you. I'll give you 3 minutes to open your cell phone, look in your contact list. Vishaka, no, come sit. Okay, good. I'm going to be a little hard because of Prabhupada. I want to be a little hard because of Prabhupada, okay? Yes. Steal your mom's. Help her to pick more than one. How's that? Good girl. Pick one friend that you know don't have a Bhagavad Gita that you can give one. And we have 64 copies, actually plus 11, 75 copies. I want to challenge each one of you to take one book home, and I would request, a humble request, if we can give $5 donation for that one book. And, if you take a book, just one. Take one book tonight. Please give the $5 to either Nitya Gopal, Prasada, Jit Mitra. Yeah, these four are here. Okay? Take one book home and make sure you mail it out within the next 7 days. Can we do the spiritual challenge right now? No, I don't want to hear Haribol. I want to hear one friend. I have 5 friends. I'm competing. I'll match you. How's that? Who's willing to match me? I got 5 people on my list. Okay, Nitya Gopal, how many do you have? How many friends? 5? Okay, 5. I got 5. This is called auction. I love it. I got 10. How many do you have? You can do 5? You can do 5? Okay, how about 3? Okay, so 3 plus 5, 8. 8 plus 5 is what? I need someone to do the math here. 13, yes. Are Baba, she has 14. Give her 14 books, yaar. My God. Okay. How many else? Who else has a friend? Dear Krishna. 3 copies. Prabhu, are you writing the names and the numbers? Okay, because this is going to get done by tonight. Who else has a friend? Yes, Prabhu. 2. Prasada Prabhu has 2. Parikshit has 2. Okay, he has 4. Hey, good. Oh, no. Let's just go. Okay, give him 2 books. Jit Mitra. 1. Give him 1 book. Sharab. 1. Perfect. Something I like. If you see my WhatsApp group, what they call the motto, the phrase word, something better than nothing. So if it's 1, as 1 is better than 0. So 1. So Sharab has 1. Who else? Come on, I did 5. Good. Rajesh wants 4. What's our numbers now, Nitya Gopal? You have 38? Oh, 38. Okay, good. Okay, we're almost there. Come on. Adi. 1. 2. Give your son 2. Suvrat. I'm picking on you. At least 1. We can, for Prabhupada, we can do this. Suvrat has 1 friend. Ram Babu has 1. Good. Mamina. I want it now in front of Prabhupada. Right now. At least 1. 1. Mamina 1. Perfect. Tungavidya. No. See, when it comes to the service, we don't share the karma. We fly our own planes. Thank you. We fly our own planes. We don't share the karma. 1 for Tungavidya. Haribol. Josh says 1. Awesome, Josh. Haribol. Great. Achut? 1? Achut says 1. Okay, both the Achuts, each one. The father is challenging the sons. I love it. Rohin 1, Pranav 1. You got service. Vrinda, I'm picking on you, girl. Hari Bol, give Vrinda 2 books. Vishaka. Give Vishaka 3 books. Okay, I'm matching up 5. See, I'm doing 5. Shamarani, 1. Give Shamarani 1 book. Lovely. She took 14. The mother told the child took 14. So, hey. Who else? Srilata. No, forget your husband. You can't share karma. You fly your own planes. That's called cheating, Krishna Consciousness. Haribol. Srilata has 2 books. Anuleka. 1. Anuleka 1 book. Janvi. 2. Janvi says 2. Ishika. 1. Haribol. Ishika says 1. How many do we have total now? What's the math? Mandeep! How can I miss Mandeep? Mandeep. 2. Give Mandeep 2. Huh? We are at 50. We did it. We did it. It didn't take that long. 50. What, like 10 minutes? We did it. Just for Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote the book at the age of 70 years old and never gave up on us. Yes, my dear. Yeah, just give the number counts to Nitya Gopal so that we can have a goal, because we want to set a goal. Absolutely. Just tell them how many, and so that he can add it to our total. Okay? But this is that's all it is. Just giving us Prabhupada's books. It's so easy. And every year, I can guarantee you, every year we will find at least 1 new friend. I just made 5 this year, thanks to COVID, believe it or not. And it was all through internet, not in person. 5. So we can do it. And the balance, we'll figure something out. There's always but we did 50 in 10 minutes. Nitya Gopal, you got the names, you got to go around, get the donation, and give them the books tonight before they walk out the French doors outside. Haribol. Give your hands a round of applause. Come on. This is Prabhupada's month. This is what it means to give the Bhagavad Gita, the book that Srila Prabhupada tirelessly wrote for all of us, so that we can share that knowledge with every living entity, every soul out there who really, really needs this help. We have it. We got it. It's very easy. So if we just take one at a time, just give it out, we have shared Prabhupada's mercy, that he has worked so hard, not asking anything. He didn't ask for money. Srila Prabhupada says, just give them my books. That's it. He didn't even say, give me a commission or give me a percentage. He never asked for a penny. He just says, yes, Achut. No, that's called cheating laziness. That's called laziness. We want the book in our hands. The book in our hands, yes. That's the power. Now we got it delivered. Don't forget my 5 copies, Pranav. Not now, at the end, but yeah. This is the glory. This is the glory of giving out Prabhupada's books. Thank you so much to all of you. We have did 50. We have 25 left. If you need 25, we have 25 copies left. And if you need extra copies, you think, oh, you know what? I thought of this friend. Look, fine, no problem. We are here for the next, I don't know how many years. And we're here for the next month. Come get extra copies from us. Next Sunday, come get it from us. We'll give it to you. No problem at all. But this is a wonderful time to give out the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. December 14th, which is a Tuesday, it's Gita Jayanti. That is when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to his dear devotee Arjuna. And we will be reciting the whole Bhagavad Gita in English, only the English translation, from 6 p.m., right, Vishaka? From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's also, Gita Jayanti also falls on Ekadasi, Mokshada Ekadashi. It's a very, very auspicious day, auspicious time. I humbly request all the devotees, try to leave your office early. Come gather here at 6 o'clock because we're going to start on time, 6 p.m. American Standard Time. It ain't going to be Indian Standard Time, American Standard Time. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we will recite the whole Bhagavad Gita, English translation only, for 3 hours, and you will experience the beautiful bliss at the end. It's so, so, so nice. And especially to read it in English, it makes so much more sense. How many of us here are Sanskrit Pandits? Except Pranav and Rohin. Except Achut, the young kids. They're too smart for me. I'm too old. That is the reason why we recite in English. Because when we are reciting in English, we know what we are reciting in English. It's not like we just recite the Sanskrit like a parrot and we're like, oh, no. If whatever we recite, we have to know what it means. It's so important to know what it means. So we're going to recite in English. Please do mark your calendars. For December 14th, Gita Jayanti, Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, will be followed by Prasadam. So please do not forget that. And until then, the book team devotees, I've done my service. We got 50 books. There are more books if you want. We have 25 more copies left. We have 4 more weeks before the end of Prabhupada's marathon month. Thank you so much. Before you leave, we have a special Thanksgiving Prasadam feast downstairs cooked by the devotees. Please do see the deities, and then please do go down, have Prasadam, and have a wonderful weekend. Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.